Sick, and this is gonna be my basic boomkin guide for the Hellfire for 6.23 patch, the Hellfire Citadel raid patch currently. And we're gonna talk about things like stat priority, the talents you want to take in different kind of situations, and also what kind of triggers generally your biz list, what you want to get in order to optimize your balance Druid. And we'll finish up with some gameplay while I break it down. Okay, first of all, stat priority. Basically, it's very simple for balance Druids, because you basically want to get mastery on every single piece of gear you can get. Mastery is the best, closely followed by crit and then haste. The only reason Mastery is currently better than Crit, like Crit is very close, is because Mastery is more consistent. Like Mastery is always going to give you the damage bonus, while Crit is only going to give you increased damage if you actually proc the crit, like if it actually crits. And Haste just makes like your dodges go faster, so you get more procs and faster casts. Multi-strike is basically garbage, together with the versatility. And the talents we want to use as a balance Druid is basically Displace a Beast for every single situation. It's just the best, generally. Not always, I've never had a chance where I want to use Wild Charge instead. Furline Swift is maybe, but I like to have like the get out of jail button if I mess up for whatever reason. In the second tier, in the level 30 tier, you generally have to pick between Ysera's Gift or Renewal. Scenario Ward is not worth it for the amount of healing that it does, and it actually takes up a global. Ysera's Gift is generally the best most of the time, because you don't have to manage it and it does a lot of off healing. But if there is a fight where you are gonna need like burst healing on demand and you know you can manage it, I'm thinking like maybe Tyrant Mythic. If you drop low in the second phase and you know that you have like that you need a heal, but you're not generally not gonna get one because the heals are very stressed at that point, you can take Renewal, and that can usually save you if you do that. In the level 45 tier, they're all kind of pick what you prefer somewhat. If you need something to go slow, you take Fairy Swarm, and the other things like Mass Entanglement are good if you need more hard CC. For example, in Gorefiend, when you're in the belly, Mass Entanglement is very good right there. Currently, I take Fairy Swarm for doing Archimon, because I can use it to slow the Void Stars down. Typhoon is not that good. You can use it to interrupt things, like again on Archimon, the Overlords and the phase he enters where he goes like 55%. You can use this to interrupt them. That's actually very useful. In the level 60 tier, you want to take Incarnation, Chosen of Elune. Every single time. It's just the best one. And you want to use it together with your Celestial Alignment, your CA, every single time. And since it takes up a global and CA doesn't, you want to use Incarnation first, and then you can pop CA right afterwards that get into your rotation. This one is the level 75 tier. Is also just utility. I take Vortex because I find it very useful in order to keep ads together on certain fights like Imps and Soul Rack or Manaroth. If they manage to like get apart, you can actually Typhoon them while they're in this. And if you hit them all with the Vortex, and you Typhoon them while they're in the Vortex, out of the Vortex, they're actually all gonna get like gripped together like a Death Knight grip. It's not as reliable, but it actually works if you don't have a Death Knight. That's very useful. Generally, in level 90 tier, you want to take Nature's Vigil, because it does a lot of healing and it has a low cooldown, so it's very useful. Heart of the Wild has a use in very niche situations. For example, I think I used it on Korak in Heimel, because he absorbs magic damage, but that's very niche, so you can actually use this in order to go into cat form and actually do damage in the last phase when trying to push it for the enrage. Probably never gonna happen with the gear people have these days, but it's there, it's an option. For the last one, you have Euphoria. And this is also just mainly like, it's the best one for in every single situation. Because, just quickly we can take a look at glyphs. There's not really any glyphs as a Munkin that you need to have, but they're you can actually swap them around quite a lot. I like Glyph of Rebirth, because it's just good every single time when you rest somebody, they start with 100% health so you don't die instantly again. That's amazing. I like Moonwarding, because it gives me more health to play with, so I have like, my chance of getting one-shot by boss mechanics is lower. Sometimes that 10% HP can actually save you. And it does actually quite often. This one is just more utility with just stampeding raw. You don't have to like be extremely close to your allies in order to use it. You can just pop it, and generally like your raid is actually gonna get it if you use this. The only minor glyph that you actually need is Glyph of Untamed Stars, because without it, your Starfall is only gonna hit targets that you actually have dots on, and when there's a lot of targets spread out, you're not gonna have dots on all of them, and it's a pain in the ass to manage. So, this glyph is the best. Also, Glyph of Flapping Owl is like mandatory, because, well, if you're not gonna be a fat bird, why the fuck would you play a Boomkin? Tell me that's not the best thing in the entire game. Okay. We can go over with... I'm gonna start talking about your best in slot list. This kinda goes on with like what I told you about the stat priority, because again it's just mastering everything. The only thing that actually needs a little more thought is the trinkets from Hellfire Citadel. The set I have right here, the Desecrated Shadow Moon Insignia and the Seed of Creation, that's your best. Even if you don't have the Seed of Creation on Mythic difficulty, it's still better. Except on like straight single target fights, or fights where there's like very little AoE, and when the AoE it's in burst AoE. And in that case you want to use the trinket of, what's the name of the boss? The Iron Reaver. I think I can find it real quickly. Piston, what is it called? It is called Iron Reaver Piston. This is the one you want to use for single target fights. And that's generally only Fell Lord and Comrock. You want to use this one instead. Instead of the Cleave Trinket, Seed of Creation. But the difference is so minimal that if you don't have both trinkets, it doesn't really matter. It's only if you have both of them that you can like swap between them if you feel like it. It's not gonna be that. It's not gonna be the end of the world if you get to swap. It's not gonna like make or break your DPS. Okay, quickly, and then I'm gonna try to get into a looking for raid, and also show some of this off, and that might take some time, but for you it's not gonna take a lot of time, because I'm just gonna cut this part out. So, I'll see you whenever my queue pops.